Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Hey, welcome in. I'll be watching for some rain going up middle of the week. A lot of this potential precipitation here. This is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, ending early Wednesday. But some heavy and excessive rain may bring in some local flash flooding potential. There is also a slight chance of some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity today. General thunderstorms, and then Tuesday we have a risk of severe as a sharp cold front drops in quickly from the northwest tomorrow afternoon. We have mostly an enhanced risk for numerous severe storms that are possible, a higher potential of some swaths of damaging winds. Large hail and a tornado will be possible too. Had a high 86 yesterday in Charleston. Flip those numbers around. Had a low of 68 yesterday. Southern areas of the state again favored for some isolated showers and storms. South and southeast areas, some patchy fog in the morning. And still some patchy wildfire smoke may still dip some visibility and air quality for some of us today. 88 in Chicago with some patchy areas of wildfire smoke. Elsewhere, Orlando, 93. Chance of showers and storms today. From Panhandle to Panhandle, there may still be some air quality alerts up here for today. I'll check for updates here. Mid-80s, dry, otherwise partly sunny, and some 60s tonight. Mid and upper 60s with a chance of a shower. Eastern Panhandle, low to mid-80s, low chance of an isolated afternoon shower today. Some upper 70s up in the high elevations. Chance of showers and storms tonight. For some of our central areas, be mindful of some patchy fog in the morning. Warming up in the mid-80s with some patchy wildfire smoke in the afternoon. Low 60s and 70s tonight. To the south, spots like Bluefield, 80. Chance of an isolated shower and thunderstorm. Elsewhere, warm to hot temps, upper 80s near 90. With some patchy smoke, lows in the 60s and 70s tonight. Again, Tuesday, rain and storms likely through Tuesday night. Risk of numerous severe and some heavy rain. 83 Wednesday, 79 Thursday. Then slight chances of rain, highs mid-80s for the weekend.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Coming up this morning, MetroNews Talkline, the latest legal troubles for the Greenbrier Hotel. You may need to get your tinfoil hats out. Maybe. What is China and Russia doing to influence our conversations about data centers? Also, we'll talk to State School Board member James Paul. It's MetroNews Talkline. We're underway.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the Metro News Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is Metro News Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Cue Dave and TJ. You're on. Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Good Monday morning. Welcome inside the Encova Insurance Studios. Dave in Morgantown. TJ is in Charleston. You are listening in on one of our great radio affiliates across the state, or perhaps you're watching on the Metro News TV app. We appreciate that as well. Don't forget, download the app to your favorite mobile device or your smart TV to watch this program and all of the other Metro News offerings. Jake Linker, video producer today, and Sophia Wasik handles the audio side of things. You can be part of our program at 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. Text the show, 304-TALK, 304-825-5304. That is the text line. That's the phone line. You can participate throughout today's program. Coming up a little bit later on, James Paul, State School Board member, will join us. Also, Montague County Sheriff's Department took some time on Friday to detail how flock cameras, automatic license plate readers, are being used in Monongalia County. We'll get some details on the information they had to share coming up in the second hour of the program. And I jokingly say, get your tinfoil hats ready. Well, not really. There's a New York Times article recently published. There have been several others about the influence China and Russia are having as it pertains to our conversations about data centers. Even here in West Virginia, Eric Tarr, Putnam County Senator, will join us for that conversation coming up a little bit later. Say good morning to TJ Meadows, who did not win the Open Championship over the weekend. Good morning, TJ.
No, I didn't. Nor did Scotty Scheffler, world number one, ends up finishing fourth. But, overall, he's Scotty. He's still the world's number one, but fun to watch. I will say this, Dave. I am shocked, I tell you, that the Chinese and the Russians would be in the propaganda business. I cannot believe it.
I kid a little bit, put the tinfoil hats on, but you read the New York Times article. There are several others. Reuters written about this. American Enterprise Institute did a deep dive. Believe it or not, China has a vested interest in beating the United States in the AI race. And Eric Tarr's brought this up before, and now I can't remember if we've had that conversation on the air or off the air. So we're going to have it on the air now. But yes, there is a social media campaign. That's not to undermine anybody's actual concerns, TJ, but it points out that they are magnifying some of these legitimate concerns, some of these illegitimate concerns to try to push the U.S. behind China in the AI race.
And for those who would discount this race and say this is another Cold War era propaganda, the U.S. is trying to make people afraid of the Chinese or the Russians, wake up. Wake up. This is real, and it is a race, and it's one that we need to win for a lot of reasons. So we'll get into that.
Eric Tarr will join us a little bit later. Jonathan Savage, Fox News Radio, latest on what's happening in Iran as well. We were not working. Well, we work a little bit on Sundays, getting ready for Monday, but most of the time, U.S. district judges don't work on Sundays. U.S. District Judge Frank Volk the Southern District of West Virginia judge, entered a show cause order Sunday telling lawyers for the Greenbrier to put it in writing why the court should not move ahead with proceedings that have been delayed for more than a month with regards to financing, Omni hotels, debt owed on the Greenbrier, et cetera, et cetera. We call it As the Greenbrier Turns. MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny has been following this throughout. Brad, good morning.
Oh, hello and good morning. No one knows what is exactly the judge's mindset, except for the judge and maybe a clerk or two. But, you mentioned the Sunday filing, and that's fairly rare. And I read into it that is an indicator that the judge is pretty serious here. Again, this case is over whether Omni Hotel and Resorts and its affiliate White Sulphur Springs Holdings can leverage their $300 million or so in first lien debt to convince the judge to put a receiver in charge of the historic Greenbrier Resort to run it and to force out Senator Jim Justice and his family. The justices, through their attorneys, have been trying to hold that at bay for about 6 weeks now by saying that they've got a potential $500 million loan on the line, and that the loan could pay down White Sulphur Springs Holdings and other creditors, as well as paying for long delayed and much needed capital improvements to the Greenbrier structure. The Judge Volk, on May 30th, which if you look at your calendars was about 6 weeks ago, said, all right, I'm going to give you the time that you need to see all of that through. But the judge said, if you go any longer than July 16th, which was, according to your calendar, last Thursday, this is my wording, the judge indicated his patience would wear thin and that his attitude may shift. So we've all been looking, those of us who cover this case, what's going to happen, because it's pretty clear that this financial deal is not yet cemented. And in it came yesterday afternoon with the judge saying, look, you need to give me a good reason in writing why you don't have your homework done, or else we're going to have some hearings and we're going to put this thing back into order and go.
Brad, is there any reason to believe from the justice camp or elsewhere for that matter that they can get the deal done this week, wrap it up, pay off Omni, and this is done?
I think there are a couple of reasons to doubt that. I mean, one is the complication and the size of the deal itself. $500 million. If you've ever taken out a financing deal on your car or your home, even at the car dealership, it takes all afternoon to get that paperwork done. I do not know what is going on between the justices and their lender, which is Kennedy Lewis Investment Management of New York. In the justice filings, they say it's proceeding as normal. Everybody intends to do it. And the justices have submitted emails showing that they sent pay down information. What's your price? Here's the account, that kind of thing, to White Sulphur Springs Holdings. However, White Sulphur Springs Holdings, which is the Omni affiliate, indicates it hasn't received any of the paperwork that you would normally get if you're doing a deal of this magnitude. Just nothing to sign, nothing in their inbox. The other thing to wonder about is the Greenbrier is one of few institutions in West Virginia with a casino. And casino licenses are not willy-nilly. And there is currently, to my understanding, a review of how this financial transfer would affect the Greenbrier's casino license. And MetroNews and others got a hold of a letter from the acting lottery commissioner, David Bradley, to the lawyers for the justices. And it indicated, strong reservations about the justice's financial condition, all of this debt, the late action by the Greenbrier to try to renew its lottery license for the current year, and then said, look, we're not even meeting again as a lottery commission until August. And it raised the issue about whether that review would even be complete by then. If the judge in federal court is expecting an answer right now, August is off that time frame. So all kinds of reasons to think this may be in danger. Not clear it's going to happen. But there are things where we just don't know because it's a family held property, and they could have just a miracle to tell the judge by 8:30 tomorrow morning. Don't know.
MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny. Well, Brad, we've been down this road before, maybe not to this magnitude with the Justice family businesses, where it feels like this thing, it's coming to a head. Here's the thing, and somehow they figure it out. So I'm not trying to ask you to peer into your crystal ball, Brad, but we have been down this road to some degree before with the Justice family businesses here.
Everything's good in the neighborhood. This seems quite serious, though, and it depends on a few things. One is, what is the status of this potential financial arrangement? What is the lender, Kennedy Lewis, thinking? Do they have any misgivings, or are they still good to go? What we hear about Kennedy Lewis flows through the justices and their attorneys. So, it depends on what you think of the narrator. But what's on the judge's mind? How impatient is he getting to be? Judge Volk did indicate on May 30th that if this goes beyond a certain point, his patience will shift, and we are now at that point. But what do the justices say by 8:30 a.m. tomorrow through their attorneys? How do they say it? Is it built on concrete statements that demonstrate progress? And to what degree is the judge willing to accept all this? Even if they delay a bit, I don't quite know where that gets them. Finally, this is getting more and more complicated. This began as White Sulphur Springs Holdings asking for a receiver to oversee the Greenbrier. Then the state tax department got in to say, well, we're trying to protect $4 million in liens that we have assessed for unpaid taxes. So that's now two creditors in. Now a third creditor, which is a combination of a company called New London Tobacco Market and their associated entity, 5 Mile Energy. They're out of Kentucky. They have a long-standing case that began as a battle over mineral rights. They won that case years ago, but they have been in court ever since trying to get the justices to pay. Recently, the judge in that case in Kentucky pierced the corporate veil and said, you've not been paying. I think that you've not acted in good faith. Entities within the justice corporation network are the same, the judge said in Kentucky, as some of the justice family members, and that judge is holding them personally accountable. Now they want in on this because there is some overlap between the justice companies in this case too. New London Tobacco Market is not trying to get its hands on the Greenbrier as far as I can tell, but it's trying to get its hands on a slice of the $500 million to make it whole. All of that weighs things down. All of that applies additional pressure. And in some ways, honestly, it begins to take the shape of a bankruptcy without anybody declaring bankruptcy, with these creditors all lining up and preparing for the potential of the $500 million coming through, or at least adding financial weight and pressure.
And there's also the political ramifications out there. A U.S. senator who may or may not want to run for his old job and be governor again. Does this stick politically? It seems nothing ever has stuck politically, at least from a negative perspective with Jim Justice. Brad, how do you weigh all of that into what's happening?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been all kinds of rumors, pretty openly so, that Justice may be considering running for governor again, taking on the incumbent, Patrick Morrisey. But would need to make a decision relatively soon. And there were all kinds of rumors within the rumors that decision may come right after 4th of July. Well, that also has come and gone. And, I think if Jim Justice wanted to make that kind of run, it would be very helpful to clear the air of all of this, the questions about the Greenbrier and the ownership, which is part of his persona, part of his area of pride, to clear the air of the state of West Virginia tax debts, and all of the other multi-million-dollar claims on justice finances. I think it at least could be seen as a restrictor plate on Justice's racing acumen.
MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny. You can read his latest on the Greenbrier over at the websites. Our lead story this morning at WVMetroNews.com. Brad, always appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks. Pay your taxes. Pay your bills.
Up next, Fox News Radio's Jonathan Savage, the latest in the Middle East, as Talkline continues in a moment.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
Are you ready to reach the finish line of retirement? At the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group, we provide comprehensive guidance for retirement planning in West Virginia. With years of experience, we'll draft a plan tailored for your unique goals. Whether you're just starting or nearing retirement, we make the process as simple as possible, easy, and stress-free. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike to set up a complimentary consultation and get started on your plan today. Let's work toward your dream retirement together.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better. and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorold.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably Mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
U.S. Central Command announced late yesterday that U.S. forces had hit Iran for a 9th consecutive evening, striking Iranian targets after earlier confirming the deaths of 3 American troops in Jordan and Iraq. A 4th death was confirmed while trying to disarm an Iranian drone. Fox News Radio's Jonathan Savage joins us for the latest. Jonathan, good morning. More strikes on Iran.
Yeah, that's right. They are once again going after various aspects of the Iranian military, trying to degrade their ability to go after ships in the Red Sea. But it's also believed that the U.S. was targeting a city that hosts an underground missile storage facility, ballistic missile storage facility. So that certainly is a campaign which is continuing and arguably expanding. In retaliation, Iran appears to have been firing drones and missiles at Bahrain and Kuwait. We know that on Friday, the 2 American soldiers were killed. A 3rd is missing, with remains recovered but not identified. And that was after Iranian drone and missile fire at Jordan. The combat continues. There are some reports we're getting on Reuters today that there's been a suggestion that perhaps there could be a 10-day moratorium on the combat in order to try to get the diplomatic track back in action. But at the moment, all this is just talk, and the fighting is continuing.
Meanwhile, Jonathan, I'm reading that Yemen's Houthis want to impose a maritime blockade on Saudi Arabia. I mean, obviously, there are already tensions around the oil markets. What's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, this would just exacerbate those even more.
It absolutely would. It would have an impact on the oil market, on the global economy. And now, this conflict goes back some distance. In Yemen, there has been a civil war, which is on ice a little bit at the moment, but Saudi Arabia backed one side in the civil war, Iran backed the Houthis, and essentially it was a proxy war between the 2 regional superpowers being fought in Yemen. Now, recently, Saudi Arabia attacked Sana'a International Airport in the Houthi-controlled parts of Yemen, and now the Houthi rebels say that they are imposing a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia as one of their responses. They say it's an eye for an eye.
Fox News Radio's Jonathan Savage with the latest on the Iranian conflict. Jonathan, before we let you go, I can respect a defensive struggle, but 1-0, my man. Not a lot of offense yesterday as Spain wins the World Cup.
No, it was a grinding game, wasn't it? It was not the best game of the World Cup by a long, long way. It was such a one-sided final as well. Spain dominated the ball. We expected them to do that. We didn't think, though, that Argentina would offer so little themselves when they had it. And they had a single shot on goal, and that was in extra time. They were the first team in the history of the World Cup to not have a shot on goal in the final in 90 minutes. Even Lionel Messi looked a lost individual out there. So it was not a classic final by any means, but in the end, the better team won.
Did we do okay hosting the World Cup, Jonathan, from your perspective? Did we do all right over here?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Certainly in terms of the human aspect of it, I've seen so many great stories of Americans and traveling supporters getting on so well, with people blown away by the hospitality that they received, discovering things about America that they never knew or perhaps confounded the expectations that they came with. Everyone could see that the atmosphere in so many cities was welcoming and festival-like. The gripes people have were to do with the organization, the officialdom aspect of it, with what FIFA did, with what some local organizing committees did, with the costs involved, not just in tickets, but in transit to and from some stadiums. But on the whole, I think it's been a great success.
Fox News Radio's Jonathan Savage. Jonathan, appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, how China and Russia are influencing our conversations on data centers. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It is 10:30, time to get a news update. Let's check in on the Metro News Radio Network, find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Hey, welcome in. I'll be watching for some rain going up middle of the week. A lot of this potential precipitation here. This is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, ending early Wednesday. But some heavy and excessive rain may bring in some local flash flooding potential. There is also a slight chance of some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity today. General thunderstorms, and then Tuesday we have a risk of severe as a sharp cold front drops in quickly from the northwest tomorrow afternoon. We have mostly an enhanced risk for numerous severe storms that are possible, a higher potential of some swaths of damaging winds. Large hail and a tornado will be possible too. Had a high 86 yesterday in Charleston. Flip those numbers around. Had a low of 68 yesterday. Southern areas of the state, again, favored for some isolated showers and storms. South and southeast areas, some patchy fog in the morning, and still some patchy wildfire smoke may still dip some visibility and air quality for some of us today. 88 in Chicago with some patchy areas of wildfire smoke. Elsewhere, Orlando, 93. Chance of showers and storms today. From Panhandle to Panhandle, there may still be some air quality alerts up here for today. I'll check for updates here. Mid-80s, dry, otherwise partly sunny, and some 60s tonight, mid and upper 60s with a chance of a shower. Eastern Panhandle, low to mid-80s, low chance of an isolated afternoon shower today, some upper 70s up in the high elevations, chance of showers and storms tonight. For some of our central areas, be mindful of some patchy fog in the morning, warming up in the mid-80s with some patchy wildfire smoke in the afternoon. Low 60s and 70s tonight. To the south, spots like Bluefield 80, chance of an isolated shower and thunderstorm. Elsewhere, warm to hot temps, upper 80s near 90, with some patchy smoke, lows in the 60s and 70s tonight. Again, Tuesday, rain and storms likely through Tuesday night. Risk of numerous severe and some heavy rain. 83 Wednesday, 79 Thursday, then slight chances of rain, highs mid-80s for the weekend.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
Have you forgotten the words you said to me? This guy, this glasses wearing, he's like, man, Dave Allen's been at it all day. No producer. And he says this to me while I'm actively producing Metro News Midday. So just to illustrate what it's like to not have a producer, Coop, why don't you take 5 for a second?
Hotline on Metro News Television.
304 Talk 304. That is the text line, 800-765-8255. The phone number, State Board of Education member James Paul going to join us coming up top of next hour, and we'll get back into this conversation regarding flock cameras, the automated license plate readers that are drawing strong opposition and pushback across the state. We'll do that at 11:33 this morning. 800-765-TALK, the phone number. 304 Talk 304 is the text line. Let me see. Last week in Beijing, Chinese President Xi Jinping cast Beijing as the champion of a new global AI order using China's premier tech conference to promote open source technology and challenge U.S. influence over the rules governing the fast-moving sector. That coming on the heels of growing reports of Chinese and Russian influence in our conversations regarding data centers and where they should be built, how they should be built, what concerns we have. Putnam County State Senator Eric Tarr told us about this, a while ago. And he joins us on MetroNews Talkline this morning in the Encova Insurance Studios in Charleston. Morning, Eric.
Good morning, Dave. How you doing today?
Doing
Help
well.
if I turned the right one on, sorry.
That always helps. There you go. Morning, Eric.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, buddy.
Good morning, Dave.
Appreciate you coming by. This is not a tinfoil hat, call the overnight show conspiracy theory. This is happening as we sit here and live and breathe.
Oh, absolutely. And we had that discussion, you're talking about. I can't remember if we were discussing it before or after one of these conversations we had here in the studio, or if it was actually on the air. But when you go out to some of the permit hearings and things like that, it really becomes evident. You have a lot of people that come into these hearings that are not from West Virginia, and they're not just showing up for the hearings. They're going door to door in neighborhoods and trying to scare, using flat out scare tactics. And they come under the guise of environmentalist groups. And it's very apparent, if you just take a picture of what the cliche is of the left of the left of the left, that's who shows up at these permit hearings and is just screaming people down. So about these permits, and then it gets people riled up, scared, and I can see how, and you can tell that it's extremely organized. Somebody has to be funding it, and so in conversations I've had with some of the data centers, come in and said, "You guys, it was just an innocent conversation." I said, "Are you getting this anywhere else? Does it happen?" And they said, "Oh yeah, it's everywhere." And I said, "Well, where is it coming from?" And they said, "Well, our opinion is," and then this was completely off record. Not out in front of a group. They said it's foreign adversaries that are trying to sway the national opinion against AI development and data center development in the United States in order for China to keep the advantage.
Why is it important that America have the advantage? That is a question I get all the time when I talk about this.
Well, it's technology. I think anybody, you'd have a few that would disagree, I think, that technology is today's arms race. It's I talk about all the time, just something as little as a capital C. Knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
So AI is the rapid access to a conglomeration of knowledge, and so the more powerful it gets, the more knowledge you have with it. When it comes to developing weapons, when it comes to swaying public opinion, when it comes to being able to shape a message. Some of the things that there's a national investigation right now into this too. I think Tom Scott with the Senate Intelligence Committee, and I think on the House Committee too, has asked the Department of Justice to start looking into this. And one of the claims that's came out is that China's influence on ChatGPT's answers. So just like if you go back to social media, when all the Black Lives Matter stuff, and how does everybody across the country come up with the same signs at the same protest at the same time? That's paid for. It's planned. It's coordinated. There's got to be money behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And AI is way beyond what social media ever was, as far as being able to shape a population narrative. That's my opinion. It's when you're on the ground level and you're trying to get things moving and you see where the resistance is coming from, it's the same communist, socialist groups, especially many of them under the guise of environmentalist. Sierra Club is one of the worst, if not the worst. And they got a lot of little sub-chapters and that really get involved in all this stuff too. So to me, it was fairly apparent. That's why I asked the question.
Putnam County Senator Eric Tarr joining us, Metro News Talkline. And Eric, I go back to our federal elections, and I sat in on a presentation, it's been several years ago now, how easily foreign actors can use AI, which is kind of ironic in all this, I guess, create an internet meme, put some information on there that is sort of true but verifiably false, put it out on social media, it catches fire, and that's all it takes to get that information cycle started. And we know the Russians were doing it in the elections, trying to influence elections. We know the Chinese are doing it. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be, traditional spy wearing the fedora and, the trench overcoat. It's creating an AI meme, putting it out there in the public sphere somewhere and letting it take off. And it works.
Yeah, their gameplay seems to be that they find a division that is organic or natural, amplify it, and then create a bunch of sources that validate that division and the reasons for that division. And a lot of money put behind it in order to be able to do that. And if you can, if our search, if the way that we get to information becomes AI, a lot of times now if I'm going to go do a search, I'll as quickly go into the Google AI or into Claude or something like that before I'll just put it in a search bar for Google, where we always used to do a search bar. And it becomes a discussion back with you as far as what the reasons it's giving you the answer. If that becomes our truth, and China controls the truth, or Russia controls the truth, that's extremely powerful.
Through things like DeepSeek, their version of our ChatGPT, because it's interesting. If you open source this with a tool where you're a developer and you don't pay for a specific engine, I was reading the other day, but you pay for an open source tool that gives you Claude, ChatGPT, the Chinese version, etc. You know where the traffic was moving to?
I would assume China.
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
The Chinese version?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's extremely alarming. But I look at some of these AI-generated images, too. A group only in Montana. They have a Facebook page. Beautiful Montana scenic sunset, Montana flag, proud to be a Montanan, all these things. A sign that says, data centers don't belong in Montana. That was generated by a Chinese-funded group.
No, absolutely.
This report, there's one in Utah, one in Oklahoma. Is the problem, Eric, that we do not realize that in our republic, in our democracy, that citizens have to play a role. They must be informed. They must look beyond. They must cross-check everything. And we're just too lazy to do it, so we become susceptible to this kind of propaganda.
Oh, yeah. The easiest thing is to read a headline. A headline becomes a meme.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a narrative out there pretty quickly off a headline because, the average person, really, this isn't what you're consuming your day with, right? We're putting bread on the table. And so you might jump into your phone for a minute here or there and scroll through 30 headlines, and that becomes your narrative. So it's you can see how one of the things as we move forward, I think as a republic, that somehow we have to be able to get back to our fundamental truths. And so, and I think that's changing. I mean, we essentially have the People's Republic of New York now, up there with you see New York saying, hey, we're absolutely banning data centers. Well, who is behind the narrative for banning data centers? It goes straight back to our country's adversaries, and they're siding with them. So, we definitely have to, one, when you see something that's collective across headlines, and that's what I was noticing that this morning. Well, I can't remember even the headline it was this morning. I was going through and scrolling. Oh, it had to do with gas prices. We were talking about this before coming on the air, gas prices and what's going on in Iran. Multiple news outlets are hitting the same story that gas is back up to over $4 a gallon because we struck Iran. And it was the same spin on a few words across a plethora of news sites. Well, is somebody trying to just downplay our activity in Iran? Or are they just trying to beat up Trump over gas prices? What is it? Because the headline is not gas prices are back up to $4 and then figured out why. It's because the activity took Iran. Maybe it was. But how common and how consistent that message was across multiple headlines just kind of makes you wonder. Why is it so similar?
Eric Tarr joining us, Putnam County Senator. Given all of this that we've discussed this morning, Eric, how important is it that West Virginia partners with data center developers who are going to be transparent, forthcoming, like the situation in Putnam County. Google, from everything that I have read, from everybody I've talked to, guy who lives in Putnam County there sitting next to you, have said Google's been a great partner. They've been forthright. They've provided information. So how important is it as we recruit these types of businesses, recruit these types of developments, that we make certain our partners are on the up and up, if you will?
You know, I don't know our ability to investigate the up and up at a state level. You know, I really don't. And I think and I believe that Google is going to be a great partner for Putnam County. They've not shown me anything that says otherwise. They've been ahead of the game as far as transparency and down to very early to the real estate purchase. You just don't see that. So they're showing transparency. Other groups we've worked with have, frankly, they've shown a lot of transparency too, going through when we're talking to them. But it's at an NDA level. It's transparent to those that they're bringing into that circle for the planning, just because they know they're going to be under attack as soon as it's in public. And some of those groups don't have the kind of funding horsepower that Google might have to go in and say, protest all you want. We're going to do what we want. Mm-hmm. So there's every one of those groups comes in and tries to tell us, what their plans are, what they're hoping to do, and the power resources they'll need and those type of things. Here's what I think for West Virginia, where what the key is for West Virginia. West Virginia should be the battery of the United States, and we have everything under our feet to produce the power that is needed to essentially develop future warfare, which is AI, right here in West Virginia. And we have groups that come in, and every time we try to develop something, even if it's not AI, they show up. If it's going to come in and it's going to burn coal, if it's going to burn gas, if it's going to build power plants, they try to shut it down. Well, why is that? And it gets back to the foreign adversary thing. Go and look and see how much energy per year that is produced and consumed in China as compared to the United States. It more than doubles. If you take the next couple of the biggest producers, China's above that. So we here in West Virginia, if we can get ahead to do the power production, which is one of the huge bottlenecks for catching up in the AI race, that creates jobs, it creates economies, and it gets us back to one of the things we really started with, is going back and we mined the coal, essentially won war after war after war, built the country. And we've sent our people overseas to fight and die. We don't have to send them overseas to fight and die to help contribute to this one. We can be that weapon for the United States.
I was interested to read over the weekend that neighboring Boyd County, Kentucky, has put a moratorium on data centers. I was surprised by that, frankly. But with that said, were you surprised? And two, can we capitalize on that in West Virginia? There's talk of a big data center in Boyd County. Let's have them bring it over the river.
Yes, every time I see one of those fights, if I see a community raising up against it, bring it over here. And bring it to West Virginia. If we have to build our power plant, if we have to figure out how to let you build a power plant, bring it over here. We can produce the power. We can fuel the power. We've got the assets to go in and build out the grid as it's happening. It's happening right now as you see a lot of these power lines going out and substations and such. It's here. I mean, we have the assets to do it, and we have the people that can go in and do tech. These are a lot of skilled jobs. They're crazy skilled jobs. The construction lasts for decades on these things because they grow and grow and grow. It's a lot of HVAC. It's a lot of maintenance, electricians. Those are things that West Virginia does extremely well. So I welcome them. So yeah, every time another community says, "Hey, don't come here," we should be giving those guys a call and say, maybe you ought to give us a look.
He's Putnam County State Senator Eric Tarr. Eric, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming in this morning. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Dave. Thanks, DJ.
Coming up, we'll get to some of your texts. 304-TALK 304. State Board of Education member James Paul joins us top of the hour. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Building a stronger West Virginia isn't just a dream, it's a mission. The High Technology Foundation knows economic diversity is the key. For over 30 years, they've been dedicated to transforming the state's economic landscape. Conveniently located in the heart of West Virginia, innovation, growth, opportunity, all under one roof. there's no need to look far for change. It's happening right here at the High Technology Foundation in North Central West Virginia. Visit WVHTF.org to learn more.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Let's get in a couple of texts here. 304 Talk 304. Dave and TJ, if we're going to have data centers in West Virginia so that we have control of the truth, can we at least do away with the political ads on our social media, radios, and TVs that seem to be full of deception, trying to deceive the voter, in my opinion? 304 Talk 304. If we can get ahead, heck, we're stuck in the 20th century mentality. West Virginia is losing population, and we're failing our kids with substandard education. Better start teaching them Mandarin, says the texter. Mm-hmm. Politicians might get more support if they acknowledge there are pros and cons to data centers rather than acting like it's only positives. We are sheep. The government is as bad or worse than China or Russia is feeding us lies. 1984, says the texter. Wow, the propaganda is thick this morning on Metro News. Eric Tarr is a conspiracy theorist, in my humble opinion. China is doing their own AI research. They don't need to sabotage America efforts, says the texter.
To that, I would just say, go read the piece in the New York Times. Go read the piece in Reuters. Go read the pieces in the Wall Street Journal. There's one in the Wall Street Journal this morning. The Wall Street Journal. This is not conspiracy theory. Why is it so hard to believe that China would want to step in and try to take advantage of an issue, a real issue in the United States, try to mold it to their advantage, Russia to do the same thing? I don't see why anyone thinks this is a conspiracy theory. I really fail to understand that.
And the strategy doesn't seem to be overly complicated. It's take something that is a true concern and then magnify it and basically pervert it until you drum up opposition to data centers. It works. It works. Look, they've interfered in the I don't want to tiptoe into this too much, TJ, but we know they've done the same thing when it comes to social media messaging, when it comes to elections and posting the memes, getting the posts out there that seem legitimate, looks like it's coming from a very official source, but it ends up being an op.
The Chinese, go ahead, finish your thought. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, this isn't as far-fetched as it initially sounds when you start to look at how it's actually being done.
And the Chinese have a track record of ripping off American technology, American innovation, and reverse engineering it. How do you think they came up with their AI? Hopefully folks have read this. If not, great piece in the Wall Street Journal today on this as well. Go read it. Anthropic, OpenAI, all of our companies accuse the Chinese companies of tapping American models of AI and using it to train their own. So if you don't think that this is an arms race, if you don't think this competition matters, I don't know how to help you.
304 Talk 304, that's the text line. Jackpots are growing in West Virginia. Jackpots are on the rise every week. Powerball hits Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. That's 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Play in store and online, 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. The Powerball jackpot is $544 million. Mega Millions jackpot is $707 million. So go ahead, play today.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com. We're going to do public math. So it's 31 divided by 4.
Yeah, just under 8 per win.
Just mark it down.
Put Tony and I down
Just
for
go.
8. Coach Hunter, put us on the prediction show for 8. We already got it. There's the math.
Just go. Sportsline on Metro News Television.
Couple of more texts here before the top of the hour. Dave and TJ, China and Russia exaggerate stuff for their interest. How about Musk and Google? They're selling advertisements. Everybody should be skeptical. He needs to get some aluminum foil. Wonder what foreign adversaries caused the 7,000 orphan wells or all the mine drainage 100 years ago. Propaganda warfare, Germany's favorite weapon during World War II, points out Noel. We all need these data centers to store the data from all the flock cameras being put up. Oh, we'll get into that coming up a little bit later on. Conspiracy theories rely on tenuous connections and conjecture. That foreign adversaries are meddling in our internal issues is a matter of absolute and repeatedly documented fact, says the texter. And you get the final word of hour number 1. Hour number 2 coming up. We'll talk to State Board of Education member James Paul. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Solango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Welcome in. I'll be watching for some rain going up middle of the week. A lot of this potential precipitation here. This is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, ending early Wednesday. But some heavy and excessive rain may bring in some local flash flooding potential. There is also a slight chance of some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity today. General thunderstorms, and then Tuesday we have a risk of severe as a sharp cold front drops in quickly from the northwest tomorrow afternoon. We have mostly an enhanced risk for numerous severe storms that are possible, a higher potential of some swaths of damaging winds. Large hail and a tornado will be possible too. Had a high 86 yesterday in Charleston. Flip those numbers around. Had a low of 68 yesterday. Southern areas of the state again favored for some isolated showers and storms. South and southeast areas, some patchy fog in the morning. And still some patchy wildfire smoke may still dip some visibility and air quality for some of us today. 88 in Chicago with some patchy areas of wildfire smoke. Elsewhere, Orlando, 93. Chance of showers and storms today. From Panhandle to Panhandle, there may still be some air quality alerts up here for today. I'll check for updates here. Mid-80s, dry, otherwise partly sunny, and some 60s tonight. Mid and upper 60s with a chance of a shower. Eastern Panhandle, low to mid-80s, low chance of an isolated afternoon shower today. Some upper 70s up in the high elevations. Chance of showers and storms tonight. For some of our central areas, be mindful of some patchy fog in the morning. Warming up in the mid-80s with some patchy wildfire smoke in the afternoon. Low 60s and 70s tonight. To the south, spots like Bluefield, 80. Chance of an isolated shower and thunderstorm. Elsewhere, warm to hot temps, upper 80s near 90. With some patchy smoke, lows in the 60s and 70s tonight. Again, Tuesday, rain and storms likely through Tuesday night. Risk of numerous severe and some heavy rain. 83 Wednesday, 79 Thursday. Then slight chances of rain, highs mid-80s for the weekend.
This is Ben Solango with Solango Law. Solango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Solango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Solango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at solangolaw.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour of MetroNews Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios. Hope your Monday's off to a great start. Could have some thunderstorms, some severe weather tomorrow. We'll worry about that a little bit later. 800-765-TALK is the phone number, 800-765-8255. You can text the show at 304-TALK-304. Got confirmation. Montague County Sheriff Chief Deputy Mark Ralston going to join us a little bit later on this hour. They held an informational session last week, the Sheriff's Department did, detailing the use of flock cameras here in Montague County. Of course, the idea of flock cameras has been getting a lot of pushback around the state. We'll talk to Chief Deputy Ralston about how those are being implemented here in Monongalia County. Your thoughts always welcome at 304-TALK-304. That's the text line. You can always give us a call as well, 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. Got Jake on the video stream, Sophia handling the audio side of things, and of course, TJ is in the Charleston bunker. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Axios reporting that the Trump administration is showing signs it could ban cutting-edge Chinese AI models, some momentous move that could lock in dominance by OpenAI and Anthropic, Dave. So dovetailing into what we were talking about earlier, I don't know that that's a good idea or a bad idea. I haven't thought about it, but according to Axios, being considered by the White House.
We'll get into more of your text about AI and data centers coming up as well. Deputy Ralston a little bit later on, 304-TALK-304. We've continued to talk about this, and we will continue to talk about the struggles and the issues facing public education in West Virginia. Those are financial. There is declining enrollment. There is the burdensome regulatory environment that public schools have to deal with as well. Member of the State Board of Education, Dr. James Paul, penned an op-ed, and he begins by saying when the West Virginia Board of Education's answer to hard questions is the legislature must act, it stops governing and starts spectating. Joining us on MetroNews Talkline this morning is member of the State Board of Education, Dr. James Paul. James, good morning. Thanks for taking some time for us today.
Good morning. Great to be here with you both.
So you're the newest member of the State Board of Education, but during your tenure so far, as you have examined the struggles that public schools are facing in particular, what jumps out to you?
Well, the main argument that I make in the piece, Dave, is that before we on the state board ask the legislature to fix the funding formula, send more money, deal with special education, we on the state board should make sure that we're using the authority we already have to make things better. And I'm concerned that we aren't doing enough of that. Our rules, our standards, our focus on student outcomes, these are all our responsibility. And all I'm saying is that there are things we can do to get our own house in order before making appeals to the legislative branch.
It seems to me that many of the rules become administrative law because they are promulgating rules legislatively based on law that the legislature has passed. I mean, you go read Code 18, Chapter 18, 18A. It's not that cumbersome, but then you go read all the administrative law, and my goodness, my kid will graduate high school before I get through all of it. How can the board take that action and reverse some of that cumbersome administrative law without the legislature first repealing some of the code?
Well, a few things to say on this, TJ. I appreciate the question. First, to something I hear is what you just said. Aren't the rules that the board writes, aren't they required by law? And that's the assumption, but often it's not the case. State law authorizes the board to adopt many rules, but it rarely requires the specific level of detail that we've chosen. And I really am urging the state board and our department to do a deep dive that distinguishes between what is legally required and what we've added ourselves. And I'm happy to give you some specific examples of places where the state board has added things ourselves. But I just wanted to say, I want to step back and take a broader picture here and think about why the code looks the way that it does. The legislature didn't start interfering in schools or prescribing in the public schools just for fun because they had nothing better to do. They didn't do it because everything was going well. Those requirements in the code have been layered in piece by piece for decades, each one of them a response to something that wasn't working well in the schools, largely results that people didn't find acceptable in an era when families didn't have options. And prescription was the only tool that anyone had. So I don't fault lawmakers for the code that currently exists. It's been 50 years of trying to fix things. But we all know the environment has changed. Families have options now. There is competition that's happening for schools. And that changes what makes sense. And it's why I do agree we should be looking for, of course, I would welcome the legislature's help, but I think there are a lot of things that the state board can do by itself to reduce the burden on the counties that they're facing.
Give us an example of what you're talking about. Where could we reduce?
Well, there's a number of areas. Look, Policy 2510, one of our flagship policies, people say our rules are dictated by statute, but I checked on this one. 2510, it orders every county board of education to adopt a list of local policies. So the state board is saying, county boards, you have to have a homework policy. You have to have a credit recovery policy. You have to have an extended learning policy, homeschool enrollment, grading policy. And only one or two of the ones that I just mentioned are actually required by statute. The rest are board requirements. And what it means is we have 55 counties drafting, maintaining policies because the state board said so. And if we're serious about reducing bureaucracy, letting schools focus on things that matter, this is one of many places to start. I also want to talk about special education. This is one where I'm asking questions about special ed. When I was appointed to the board, one of the first things I did was ask, where does federal law require certain rules about special education? And where has our own policy added beyond what the feds require? And frankly, I'm still waiting for an answer on this. And it's one that we need an answer to from the staff at the Department of Ed. The board is asking the legislature for more special education money, yet we can't conclusively say which of our costs are federally required, which are things that we've imposed by ourselves. And we can be doing this concurrently. The legislature can be working on special ed solutions, but we on the board, there's a lot we can do to be a partner to that and to help. And I'm trying to raise more awareness about this.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you believe that the state board has put more requirements in than the federal government has when it comes to special ed? Are you saying that, or give us what's your gut say? What's the percentage here?
I can't give you a percentage, but I'd say the federal government requires that, to my knowledge, the federal government requires states to identify to them, where are we going? Where are you states going above and beyond? And even if that's not a requirement, it's something that states should be doing, because it's very easy for bureaucracies to get comfortable when it comes to rulemaking and to feel like we know the right answers and to say, this well-meaning idea, we should just require this because it'll help. We need to do a full review of that. I'm concerned that it's a significant amount. I could be wrong, but the fact that we don't have a conclusive answer to that is a problem, and it's something that we can be doing to help when it comes to special education, again, before asking the legislature for more money.
Talking to State Board of Education member Dr. James Paul, had an op-ed recently published concerning the Board of Education. Let me ask you this question. Have we, through developing these laws, developing these policies, developing this administrative law, has the board and and I'll throw the legislature in there too, but have they looked through this through the lens of student outcome as all of these policies have been developed, in your opinion?
Well, that's one of my biggest concerns, and it's one of the things that I argue for in the piece, which is we need to be thinking as a state board at a high level. Everything that we're doing needs to be making public schools more attractive to families that they could potentially serve, which is everyone in the state. And part of what it means to actually see that happen is raising the bar for what we expect from our schools, raising the bar for what it means for students to achieve in West Virginia. And I worry a lot that we are accepting low results as normal. Consider one thing, Dave and TJ. Every August, the state board receives assessment results, arguably the single most important information that we get all year when we look at what's the latest thing happening on our state assessment results. And in every past agenda that I've reviewed, these scores don't even receive their own agenda item. They're kind of folded into broader updates or a department update, and the board discusses it, and then there's some mention of it in the minutes, of course, but it sends the wrong message. Student achievement should be the centerpiece of our work, not one topic that's buried in a larger discussion. And remember, the results in our schools right now they really need to improve, and they need to improve quickly. We've seen some growth on state testing relative to 2019, relative to before COVID on our state tests. But remember, 2019 was not exactly a high watermark of academic excellence in our schools. And when you look at how West Virginia performs on national tests like the NAEP, the National Assessment of Education Progress, students are doing even worse, both in terms of proficiency and relative to other states. So again, I'm just saying that the board needs to be almost singularly focused on a couple of these big priorities, deregulation where appropriate, and prioritizing student achievement so that the traditional public schools can compete and make the case to families why they should be enrolling there.
I was having a conversation this morning with someone, businessman, thinks like I do, frankly. The level of financial acumen at the county level on many of the county boards is atrocious. It's atrocious. I mean, many of the issues that we read about, the bankruptcy, this takeover, that takeover, is because the board either didn't have the financial acumen to act or they didn't have the political will to act. The code spells out to a large degree what the state board can do and what has to happen before it can take a county over. How do we fix that problem?
Well, I will acknowledge, I think you're pulling on something here, which is there is a balance between deregulation and keeping a close eye on the counties where there are problems. And I'll say this state board, especially under President Hardesty, they've been watching very closely counties that are in distress, and you can see the number of counties that the state board is currently intervened in for various reasons. So there needs to be a balance between deregulation and the ability to intervene. In my opinion, high-performing districts should have greater flexibility, But districts that have these persistent problems with finances, governance, academic issues, they should have greater oversight. But I'll tell you this, most of the counties that are struggling, or most of the counties that are currently in interventions or state of emergencies, they're not being brought down by like too little regulation. They're being brought down by leadership, governance, financial mismanagement. What I would like to do is reduce compliance on the things that don't matter so much and intensify accountability where it does. And frankly, this in theory is one of the benefits of having a more robust system of school choice, which we now have in West Virginia. This in theory should put pressure on the counties to say, look, we need to compete. We need to reverse some of these trends, and we can do it. What are we doing simply to make schools easier to enroll in? What are we doing to make the schools safe and directly accountable to parents? What are we doing for students when it comes to citizenship and other outcomes beyond test scores? These are all things that parents care about. They're all things that counties should be prioritizing when it means competing and distinguishing themselves from other options that families currently have.
Dr. James Paul joining us, member of the State Board of Education. I think you have hit on something. A lot of the conversations I've had covering the local school boards over the years, James, is when I ask a question, well, why do you do that? Well, the state says we have to. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why did you do that? State says we have to. That comes up as an answer, in my opinion, too often. And I think, again, not to put words in your mouth, I think that's what you're getting at. There's a lot of the state says we have to as an answer to a lot of these questions, that it becomes burdensome, it becomes the focus, and we lose. And look, I'm trying to tread lightly here because I'm not accusing anybody of not doing their jobs, but when you have to fulfill those obligations, that becomes your focus instead of what you're talking about, the student outcome being the focus. It can easily get lost.
Student outcomes can so easily get lost. I'm really worried that they have. I'm trying to bring them back to the forefront of the conversation. But above all else, I'm encouraging everyone that's involved in public education in our state, whether you're on the county boards, whether you're on the state board, Department of Ed, legislature, there are all responsibilities that we have that are either prescribed in the Constitution, prescribed in state law. There are things that everyone can do to at least incrementally, marginally make things better. And I don't want to fall into a defeatist or a fatalistic outlook that, well, we just got to throw our hands up and say, we can't do it because the state says this, or we can't do anything until the legislature does this. I mean, I know, and maybe we can talk about the funding formula. I know that's a big focus right now, but we cannot allow the discussion of the funding formula to overwhelm all the other ways and all the other authority that we on the state board have to try to make our public schools more accountable and make them more appealing to parents.
Talk to me about, I'm sure you've seen the visual. You've seen President Hardesty hold up what we call, he doesn't call it, we call it the Gutenberg Blue Bible, because it's just this huge binder of policy and law and different things. And then you see, he holds up, I think if not an index card, it's a couple of pieces of paper or something like that, that illustrates the kind of oversight that charter schools have. What you're talking about, this deregulation, do you see that as a movement to, in an era of competition, balance the playing field between the two entities so that parents, again, can decide, and it doesn't appear that we're favoring one system over another? One is more burdened than the other.
Well, I talked about this a bit earlier where I said, in my view, the top-down regulations, whether it's regulations or law, they made more sense in an era where there was no school choice, where families didn't have options. Now we have choices, and I think it's reasonable and prudent to look at ways to help the counties compete. So yes, I think that's a big part of it, and I'm open to doing it. But I also wanted to remind you of the context that I said at the outset of my appearance this morning, which is that there's a reason why the legislature put those in place to begin with. And I also have a theory that maybe the reason the legislature hasn't been so quick to repeal a lot of the mandates that are in code is because it doesn't yet trust the system to perform without them. And prescription and top-down laws are what lawmakers reach for when results are disappointing. So I take that as a challenge. If we want fewer laws from Charleston, let's show Charleston rising achievement. Let's be honest about our struggles with achievement and other student outcomes. Certainly be honest and transparent about them, but let's show them improvement and show them a board that polices its own rules so that we are doing as little overregulating as possible. And hopefully deregulation will flow kind of downhill from trust, and ultimately from more trust can be more results in the classroom. So I take it as a challenge. Frankly, I would be thrilled if I could play some role in helping reverse the public school enrollment losses in our state, because the only way that's going to happen is if public schools begin to really appeal to parents in a way that they haven't before. And yes, that's why deregulation, looking at our rules, is something that I think should be a really high priority for us.
Dr. James Paul, West Virginia Board of Education, thank you for the insights today, James. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you. Talk to you soon.
Back in a moment. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
WVU Medicine's Reconstructive Urology program offers expert, personalized care for complex conditions, from trauma and strictures to erectile dysfunction and incontinence. Our nationally recognized specialists use advanced techniques, including robotic surgery and prosthetic implants, to help you reach your goals. Schedule your consultation today at 855-WVU-CARE or visit wvumedicine.org/urology.
Approach your retirement with confidence. With over 150 years of combined experience, the advisors of the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group provide advice and wealth management strategies to individuals, families, small businesses, professional offices, and institutions. With the Stike team, you'll have access to an advising team with extensive resources, a client-first mindset, and a passion for helping transform the lives of those we serve. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike today and join the team that's dedicated to your success.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discovered tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet is probably right at your front door. Now is the perfect time to connect. Free equipment, free installation, no contract, local customer support you can trust. Fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, citynet.net connects, protects, and perfects. Texter says, compete, ? There are no guidelines or regulations for No Hope homeschoolers. A Morrissey hack. The documentation they have to provide is a joke. Let public schools follow the same guidelines. I think that's what he was saying, to the texter's point.
I think he was, but why wait? Why the whole earn back trust thing? The legislature needs to repeal the code that caused promulgation. This is what I hate about promulgation. This is why I'm such a big fan of Chevron deference. Congress needs to write what law it wants. It needs to say what it wants. Same with the state legislature. Don't throw it over and promulgate this and that. Write what you want to be law. Solves itself.
Your common sense and logic will not be tolerated, TJ Meadows.
You get what I'm saying?
No,
though?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
You write the broad, overarching law, you kick it over there, then you end up with pages and books and volumes of policy and administrative law. It becomes, and that's exactly what Dr. Paul was talking about during that conversation. Yeah. All right, coming up, we're going to talk more about flock cameras. Montague County was detailing how those are used. We'll talk about it next. This is Talkline on Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. It is 11:30, time for a news update. Let's check in with the Metro News Radio Network, find out what's happening all across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Hey, welcome in. I'll be watching for some rain going up middle of the week. A lot of this potential precipitation here. This is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, ending early Wednesday. But some heavy and excessive rain may bring in some local flash flooding potential. There is also a slight chance of some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity today. General thunderstorms, and then Tuesday we have a risk of severe as a sharp cold front drops in quickly from the northwest tomorrow afternoon. We have mostly an enhanced risk for numerous severe storms that are possible, a higher potential of some swaths of damaging winds. Large hail and a tornado will be possible too. Had a high 86 yesterday in Charleston. Flip those numbers around. Had a low of 68 yesterday. Southern areas of the state, again, favored for some isolated showers and storms. South and southeast areas, some patchy fog in the morning, and still some patchy wildfire smoke may still dip some visibility and air quality for some of us today. 88 in Chicago with some patchy areas of wildfire smoke. Elsewhere, Orlando, 93. Chance of showers and storms today. From Panhandle to Panhandle, there may still be some air quality alerts up here for today. I'll check for updates here. Mid-80s, dry, otherwise partly sunny, and some 60s tonight. Mid and upper 60s with a chance of a shower. Eastern Panhandle, low to mid-80s, low chance of an isolated afternoon shower today. Some upper 70s up in the high elevations. Chance of showers and storms tonight. For some of our central areas, be mindful of some patchy fog in the morning. Warming up in the mid-80s with some patchy wildfire smoke in the afternoon. Low 60s and 70s tonight. To the south, spots like Bluefield, 80. Chance of an isolated shower and thunderstorm. Elsewhere, warm to hot temps, upper 80s near 90. With some patchy smoke, lows in the 60s and 70s tonight. Again, Tuesday, rain and storms likely through Tuesday night. Risk of numerous severe and some heavy rain. 83 Wednesday, 79 Thursday. Then slight chances of rain, highs mid-80s for the weekend.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
Have you forgotten the words you said to me? This guy, this glasses wearing, he's like, man, Dave Allen's been at it all day. No producer. And he says this to me while I'm actively producing Metro News Midday. So just to illustrate what it's like to not have a producer, Coop, why don't you take 5 for a second?
Hotline on Metro News Television.
More of your text at 304-TALK-304. Phone number is 800-765-8255, 800-765-TALK. Coming up, we'll get to more of your texts before we call it a day. Turn things over to Metro News Midday on many of these same Metro News radio stations. Back on Friday afternoon, Montague County Sheriff's Department held an informational session for members of the media, went into detail about how flock cameras, as they've become known, are dispatched around the county, how those are used. Of course, those cameras, which read license plates and utilize AI technology, have become the source of some pretty strong vocal opposition across the state. Certainly Huntington's decision to purchase those cameras got a lot of pushback, and that pushback is growing. Joining us in studio here in Morgantown this morning is the Deputy Chief of the Montague County Sheriff's Department, Chief Mark Ralston. Mark, good to see you again, buddy. Thanks for coming in.
I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, we've got a lot of questions, but you can give us your Cliff Notes version of the presentation the other day. These cameras have a lot of public opposition. Folks have a lot of questions. So how are they being utilized specifically here in Montague County?
Yeah, the reason we had that meeting with members of the media on Friday is because we've seen lots of misinformation, and we'll call it misinformation because I think it's just because people aren't informed on what the cameras actually do. The package that our department purchased strictly reads license plate numbers, and it gets you a vehicle description. That is it. It's not tied into the DMV records. The only thing that is searchable are license plates or a vehicle description. And we've been hearing information about facial recognition, that these cameras take pictures of individuals, and they do not. And that's what we wanted to make clear.
Talk about your hot list policy. I read that. This is what it says. Hot lists are created only by supervisory personnel or those authorized by the sheriff. They must be temporary, tied to active investigations or warrants, and reviewed frequently. A hot list entry alone does not establish justification for a traffic cop. The way I read that, you do not have to have a warrant. You can, but you don't have to have a warrant. Is that correct?
To do a search? Is that the question? Or to be put on a hot list?
Either one.
Yeah. Here's a for instance that we have used that on somebody that we do not have a warrant. If there's an active protective order for an individual and the victim of that domestic violence issue has expressed concerns to us that this person has been driving by my home, we of course send people over into that area, but of course we can't be there all the time. What we've utilized this system for is to put that particular person that is named either on a previous domestic charge or under an active protective order to give us assistance in case that person would happen to be heading towards that area or in that general area. When they don't live anywhere in that area, we know we can send somebody over there just in case to help offer some protection for that victim. And up to this short amount of time we've used that, they're very thankful that that system is there because it does help us protect them.
Chief Deputy Mark Ralston joining us, Montague County Sheriff's Department. The data, how is it handled? How is it managed? Is it there forever? What are your policies?
No, our policy is a 21-day retention time. Flock standard is 30 days. Ours is 21. And that is maintained on Flock servers. And at the 21-day mark, 21 days since that image was captured, on the 22nd day, it's automatically deleted and not recoverable at that point.
Mark, why 21 days?
There, in January, there is a federal court case, Schmidt versus City of Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, now Virginia has actually state code that addresses the license plate readers. West Virginia doesn't have a specific code that addresses or has any policy set forth for this state. But we're in that circuit. We are in the Fourth Circuit, so we want to follow what the appellate courts may rule on this. So basically, to summarize what that decision was by a federal court judge, The city of Norfolk has many, many of these flock cameras. And somebody contested the fact that they stored this information and it put them under a constant state of surveillance. And what that federal court judge ruled is that the 21-day retention was not an overstep and did not constitute constant surveillance because these cameras are only at a few intersections. And the court ruled that they could continue on as far as their usage. And of course, it has been appealed to the Fourth Circuit, to the Board of Judges to make a decision there. But of course, we'll be waiting for some time probably on a decision for that.
Chief Deputy Mark Ralston, Montague County Sheriff's Department, joining us here on Metro News Talkline. So when do you access the data? When would you do a search through the flock database to look for a license plate or a vehicle description?
For instance, let's say you may have called us, victim of a crime in some fashion.
I thought you were going to say I was the guy you're looking for.
Yeah, no. Well, not at this point. But in any event, maybe a victim would call us and say, hey, my vehicle was just struck at an intersection, and this is what the vehicle looks like, and I have a partial plate. And I know they took off in X direction. What our responding deputy can do, he can get a hold of his supervisor, relay that information. Only our supervisors are able to actually enter a vehicle on a hot list. That way they can assure that there is an active investigation or a corresponding case number to go with that. So then that plate information and vehicle description can be entered in there, and then it could be searched at a later date, or it can be set up to notify all the members of our department that have been through the training. And the notifications, think of it, if you have a blink camera or a ring camera or any kind of a doorbell camera, it notifies you on your phone. Our deputies have apps, and it will notify them the second a vehicle with that plate number goes by one of those cameras, they just get a notification. So then at least they know the area that it went, and that's basically it.
But Mark, a ring camera, that's a voluntary association between a person and a company. I'm not granted, or I'm not given an opportunity to give your department any kind of voluntary association. I read that there were 50,000 images, only 101 were searched. Well, those roughly 50,000 minus a couple hundred that didn't want to be searched. I mean, don't they have a Fourth Amendment protection not to be profiled in the system?
Well, just remember, you mentioned the Fourth Amendment. That's to protect all of us from searches of our person or property. That is your home, your vehicle, not in a public area. If you're on the street, the only thing these things search, particularly license plates, is a state-issued plate. We're not coming into your home. That we would have to have a warrant for. We don't search your vehicle other than looking at a visible plate that anybody can see in a public area. These cameras don't even give us the registration information. That has to be cross-checked through the DMV files, which we have had access to for many, many decades now. So I'm not sure how that argument that we're conducting an illegal search when you're in a public area looking at a state-issued plate on a public road constitutes a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Well, didn't the court in Chattree say that for geofencing, same kind of data from Google on the phone, that you needed a warrant for that? Wouldn't that apply here as well? Or put it this way, if the court says it does indeed constitute a search, wouldn't you have to go get a warrant then?
Yeah, if it does, but in that decision that you're talking about, that did not say all geofence searches are unconstitutional, just the particular merits of that specific case. So geofencing still can be done with a search warrant, with a search warrant, correct. But
so why not get a warrant on this? Go for every instance, hot list, anything. Just go get a warrant.
Well, a lot of times we don't know who that person is. How do you get a warrant on an anonymous person at that point?
I guess you don't.
Well, that's the value of the cameras.
Talking to Montague County Chief Deputy Mark Ralston joining us here. How are your deputies trained? to use this information? So car goes through, the alert goes off, this car is in this area. How are the deputies then trained to respond to that? How are they utilizing this information?
Yeah, one of the instances that we went over in Friday's presentation was that about a month ago there was a vehicle reported stolen from the Pennsylvania State Police, April 6th. And 2 days later, and that was these cameras are integrated in with the NCIC system, and basically what that is a national database, missing persons, endangered persons, stolen property, wanted individuals. They're in that database, and it's maintained by the Department of Justice and FBI. They're integrated in, so our officers were alerted to a stolen vehicle that passed one of the cameras, and we had officers, of course, on patrol. They were all alerted, so they were able to go to the general area and start looking around for that vehicle description. The only thing that we even get on a notification is the plate number and the vehicle description. We don't know any other details. So they did locate that vehicle and the persons in it. And, of course, they have to verify, all right, they're actually looking at that plate. Is it accurate, and is it the one that's in the NCIC system? And in this particular instance, it was, and they were able to effect the arrest and recover the vehicle. These cameras don't do it all for you. The only thing they do is say, hey, this plate that may be wanted is in this particular area. Our deputies still have to go verify all the information. It is no different than if somebody calls us and say, hey, the vehicle that you had in the paper listed as stolen, I just saw it go by me on X road. And if we have a deputy that's nearby and is lucky enough to see that vehicle go by, then they will go verify the plate and then make a traffic stop based on that. That's all these do. It's another set of eyes.
And I think one of the concerns that's floating out there is the worry that we will become, not just law enforcement, but that we're going to become so reliant on AI, we'll just trust it too much, that it will replace old-fashioned investigative work. But what you're saying is you're training these deputies to not let AI replace old-fashioned investigative work.
You can never do that. We still have to go verify everything that this system is telling us, period. There'll not be a replacement for that.
To what degree do you plan to try to work with the legislature on this, if at all? I've had several calls over the weekend from different legislators who talk about legislation upcoming in this session to ban these cameras. How will you combat that?
Well, and with our particular system, I don't think it's intrusive to the point to where there needs to be any other guidelines other than the way like our department uses it with the technology that we use from Flock. It doesn't do anything other than what I've described. If legislation is out there for some guardrails for other technology that may be out there, that is fine. That won't affect our program. Our program doesn't do anything other than give us plate numbers and a vehicle description. Everything else, any police officer or deputy sheriff at our department has to cross-reference that information through existing databases to further their investigation. They're not the end-all, be-all to police work at all. It's just another set of eyes.
Running short on time. We could probably go for another hour or two on this subject. Is there a website someplace folks can go to get more information or to see how these, see the policy, see how this works?
Yeah, on our department website, Montague Sheriff Department's website, there is a new heading that was just made live that has our first 90-day audit that is there for the general public to view. It has a frequently asked questions section. Our policy, the contract that we signed with Flock is on there. And it also daily shows how many vehicles over the last 30 days have been through there and how many searches that our officers have done.
Chief Deputy Mark Ross, Montague County Sheriff's Department. Appreciate you coming by. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Take a break. Back in a moment. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Picture a community where every space tells a story. Those are the communities we're designing at ZL Milne Architects and Engineers. With a blend of creativity and technical expertise, we design spaces that inspire, innovate, and ignite change. From cutting-edge educational facilities to community-centric gathering spaces, we're committed to improving lives through design. Let us help you shape a brighter future for generations to come. Because at ZL Milne, it's more than architecture. It's about building your legacy.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now, you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Of course, the OVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better. And I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Went a little long there. We'll take a break. We'll get to some of your texts before we call it a day. Jackpots are growing in West Virginia. Jackpots are on the rise every week. Powerball hits Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. That's 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Play in store and online. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. The Powerball jackpot is $544 million. Mega Millions jackpot is $707 million. So go ahead, play today. Take a final break. Get to your text. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Located in the heart of West Virginia, Bridgeport is the place to play. Endless indoor and outdoor recreation opportunities, including the Bridgeport Complex, coupled with a dynamic food scene, make Bridgeport the perfect getaway destination for couples and families. Explore unique shopping and pick from a wealth of lodging options to find something perfect for your needs. Explore the heart of West Virginia in Bridgeport. Learn more about all there is to do at greater-bridgeport.com.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
You're You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
For over 20 years, Dan Cabot Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cabot Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
At Daniels Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniels is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniels.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Of course, the LVAD was brought into my life because I had
304 Talk 304, that's the text line. Let's get to some of your thoughts. Texter says all these leaders from various states and jurisdictions keep saying these flock cameras don't do certain things, and that may be true on an individual level, but Flock itself sells your info from the DMV records, DMV records, and they build algorithms on you. How many times you go that way or use a certain road, it's a surveillance state. Get them out of the state, says the texter. Great interview with Mr. Ralston. Knows his stuff. Nothing but the facts. Wow, Chief Deputy in Montague County just admitted on live radio that the purpose of the flock camera is to circumvent the Fourth Amendment requirement for police to get a warrant.
Look, I don't know if I'd go that far. I will say this. I wrote in my piece today. Why do I have to set myself on fire to keep other people warm? That quote has been used for years to describe this age-old conflict between individual liberties, individual rights versus a collective good. I think the answer is simple. If you're on a hot list, if your data is being stored day to day, even if it's a 21-day cap, go get a warrant. Let a judge say you can do it. Problem solved. Get a warrant.
But judges have said you don't have to. I mean, multiple federal judges have ruled this does not violate the Fourth Amendment. Several state judges have also ruled this does not violate the Fourth Amendment, that there's no difference between this and putting cops on the street corner, standing there taking pictures and taking down vehicle descriptions and license plate. It's the new hyper-vigilant police officer.
Well, we'll see what happens at the Fourth Circuit, but I think there are a lot of parallels between geofencing. And Mark was right about one thing. It's not illegal to do that. You just have to have a warrant to do it. Not illegal to geofence and collect data. You just have to have a warrant to do it. We'll see how it ends up, but I think
these cameras face
up at the
out
court.
they face out into public.
Yeah,
these
but
are in
it's the
public
government.
areas where you have no expectation of privacy.
You have no expectation of privacy, but typically that's from another citizen. The government is collecting data on people.
They could do that now. They could do that. They could have done that
doesn't
20
make
years
it right.
ago.
It doesn't make it right.
But you don't have an expectation of privacy out in public. If you're going to use a public road, I could line High Street with Morgantown City police officers taking descriptions and license plate numbers all day long.
And that would be completely legal.
And the argument is that's what the flock camera does.
Well, I think the flock camera does a lot more than that, honestly. It's creating a database of stored images. It's bringing in a third-party company. I know we're not going to agree on this, but it's going to be adjudicated. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
But everybody's doing it to us.
Well,
Everybody is doing it to us without our consent. You drive by somebody's house that's got a Ring doorbell. Are you consenting to
You don't
being
see the
filmed?
difference between a private citizen and the government doing this? Honestly?
No, I'm asking you what the difference is. Ring is doing it. Sheets, everybody has your information. They know exactly
I don't have to go
where
to
you are.
Sheets. I don't have to go to Lowe's. I don't have to go to Target.
The Pennsylvania State Turnpike takes your picture and sends you an invoice of your car and your license plate number.
Good for them.
Everybody has your information.
Good for them.
We're just moving in that direction. Everybody's already got it. Everybody knows where my truck. Heck, GM knows where my truck is right now.
You can opt out of that, can't you?
Opt out of that. Do you think you really opt out? I don't. Ring cameras are always on. Ring cameras are always on, even if you don't have the subscription. I'm just saying, your information's out there. It's all out there. I don't know where I am on the flock cameras. I can tell you that. I don't know where I am on those, but the information's out there. Everybody's got your information. The question is, how much freedom are you going to give up for safety?
None, in my opinion.
304 Talk 304. We'll talk about it tomorrow. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.